Hello everyone, Mr. Science Mover here. Now, I'm not a big Dragon Quest player by any stretch of the imagination. I know there have been tons of games, but before about a week ago, I'd only played one ever. Allow me to tell you the story of how a young science mover came to love the series anyway. When I was about 8 years old, my mom bought me the Nintendo DS. I had played on a Game Boy Advance and a PlayStation 2 before that, but I had to share all those games with my brother, so this was really my first personal console. My brother got his own as well, and we both had our own games. I got Kirby Squeak Squad, and my brother got Yoshi's Island DS. I remember these very vividly. But a console is only as good as the games you can play on it. So when my grandmother took me out shopping to Costco of all places, we stumbled upon the DS games bin. They were scattered about as if in a discount bargain bin. I wasn't old enough to be looking at prices, and I wasn't experienced enough to recognize any of the characters, so for all I know this was just Costco's way of displaying 10 out of 10s. But in any case, I just picked the one that looked the most fun and appealing to me. That game was Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime. Now, even if you're a Dragon Quest fan, odds are you've never heard of this game before. It's not a mainline game. In fact, it's so far from a mainline game that the main character is not even a human, but a slime. Yes, that's right, my experience with Dragon Quest and all the characters I would eventually come to know and love are the enemy fodder of the series. This game is genuinely extremely good though. You play as Rocket, a small child inhabitant of the slime city of Boingburg. One day, however, some baddies known as the Plob come and slime nap all 100 of your fellow town slimes. But in a stroke of luck, they throw you away. You see, you had just swallowed a flute to hide it from your father, and so you looked kind of like a worm. But I'm getting too into the weeds. After dusting yourself off, you set out to rescue the town. After rescuing a few friends, you discover that the flute you were hiding away is actually an extremely important relic, one that gives you the ability to call in a huge tank. And it's a good thing too, because how else would you be able to stand up to the Plob and their tanks? The rest of the game consists of two parts. The first is essentially 2006's version of a high-action looter shooter, exploring the land of Slimenia for ammunition, rocks, chests, and of course the occasional 10-ton weight that everyone leaves lying around on the beach, while also rescuing slimes and occasionally recruiting them to your cause. The second part of the game consists of using those companions to wage tank warfare on the Plob by firing the ammunition you just collected. This game was really ahead of its time. All of this was so much fun as a child, and I actually recently replayed it about 5 years ago, and it still held up. But recently there was an event that shook the gaming community and reminded me of this game that I loved. On March 1st, 2024, Akira Toriyama passed away at the age of 68. Tons of comments of love and support poured out across the internet over how much he had influenced their childhoods through his work on Dragon Ball Z. I was never much of an anime fan, but I did see one post that remembered him for his work on Dragon Quest. I wondered if perhaps he actually had been a part of my childhood and I just didn't know it. So I went to the Wikipedia page for this game, and sure enough, he was the lead artist. This man had brought to life all of these characters that I've heard so few people talk about, but to me they introduced me to gaming. When the heroes of Dragon Quest were announced as DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, all I wanted was the slime. I walked around for months with my me looking like this. And believe it or not, I actually dressed up as this exact me in real life. I had walked around with Akira Toriyama's goofy little creation on my head and I never knew. So in honor of him, I decided to play another Dragon Quest game. Admittedly, I'm still a bit turned off by turn-based gameplay, but I found a great alternative. Here I present another spin-off franchise, Dragon Quest Builders, specifically the second one. It's no secret that I'm a fan of Minecraft, and when I saw the title Builders with a voxel art style, I knew this game was for me. And I was 100% correct. This game's all about building, but building with a goal in mind. It's not as aimless as the base game of Minecraft, and I really appreciate that. In this game, the buildings are more like puzzles. In the process of restoring order and peace to the land through the way of building, and yes, being a capital B builder is a very important plot point, you encounter many villagers who have come to be lost, frustrated, and grieving the loss of their previous builder. In their vulnerability, some have even turned to the dark ways of destruction. As an aspiring builder yourself, it is your job to bring this island to life with your fancy creations. Bathrooms, kitchens, farms, and whatever your townspeople request. They'd help you if they knew how, but you'll have to teach them first. The stark contrast between this game and my first foray into this series with Rocket Slime is immediately apparent. In this game, you're actually a human. However, I soon came to find out that these two games aren't as different as I thought. My little friend the slime even comes back as a friendly helping hand crucial to the plotline. I've come to realize that from Rocket Slime to Builders, Akira Toriyama had, through his expressive character designs, made natural stories of redemption. I can't speak to the mainline games, where perhaps you're blindly bulldozing your way through mobs for XP, but at least in these two games, I see the beauty of enemies becoming friends. A platypunk need not be a plob forever. A slime need not be a creature of destruction. Every individual can make choices that will set them on a better path, one that leads to greatness. And that decision can be thrust upon them as a child like Rocket, or it can come in old age despite resistance to old ways, as it did to Pastor Al. But at the end of the day, it's never too late to do good. I think that's a great legacy to have, and my life is better for being taught this at 8 years old by Akira Toriyama. So I dedicate this video to him, and all the good that he has caused in the world through his characters. I only hope we can see more people like him. Never stop doing good, Smoovers. I'll see you all next time.